of that anonymous on your Instagram. Today I'm a survivor. I am not a victim.
First of all, I'm so happy to be here. And let me tell you, I'm very, very, very nervous. And I'm feeling so emotional right now. So thank you so much once again.
And thank
And
you, and thank you. I know how difficult it is to come and speak. So I thank you, and I promise you that we don't have to talk about anything that you're uncomfortable about. So please, this is a safe space for you to be exactly who you want to be.
yeah, so there is always this buzz on social media. I think right now that is a tell-all. So I want to clarify that for them that it's definitely not a tell-all. It is because I'm legally binded not to disclose certain details of my case because it's sub judice, it's ongoing. You asked me about victim to survivor journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it happened in 2017, February 17th. So when it happened to me, my whole life has turned upside down. Um, and I don't know, I was constantly, maybe my mind was constantly searching for something or somebody to find and, so that I can put the blame on and I'll have an easy exit. Because it was like a constant chaos in my mind that why did it happen, and why me, and so many questions. And so I started finding, I was constantly searching for something to put the blame on so that I'll feel good maybe. So for instance, I was thinking that I lost my father in 2015. So for instance, I was thinking maybe if he was alive this wouldn't have happened to me. So maybe if I didn't have that shooting on the next day, this wouldn't have happened to me. So so many what ifs, what ifs, what ifs, and then I used to think that maybe it's like a long nightmare. Once I'll get up in the morning, that everything will be back to normal. So there's so many times I desperately wanted to go back to that time before it happened so that I could change everything, that my life will be normal. So suddenly I'm this assaulted actress, and this victim tag, and so many things altogether. So I was blaming myself. So everything, every time I think about it, every time I uh, think about this incident or what happened after that, it was like a loop. Like I'll come back to where I have started and I'll blame myself. So I was thinking, yeah, it happened to me. It's my fault. So I don't know, the blame game was going on for a very long time. And then my trial happened in 2020. And I had to go to the court for 15 days. Those 15 days when I was in the court, it was a whole different level of, traumatic experience altogether. So when I came out of that court on that last day, the 15th day after 15 hearings, I came out of that court feeling like a survivor. When I came out of that court, I that's when I realized that I'm a survivor. I'm not a victim anymore. That I could survive this, and I am not just standing up for myself, but also for the dignity of all the girls who will come after me. So that's when I realized, or maybe my mind was finally convinced me that I'm a survivor, not a victim anymore. So that's how I explain it.
And you know what you talk about, blaming yourself, that's a very common response that happens actually with those who have experienced abuse and harassment. Somehow we end up thinking that we must have done something. If we had done something differently, maybe we could have avoided it. So, this is one of the most common things that happens with survivors of sexual abuse. But, you were also taking on a very, very powerful man, and he was in the same industry as you. And while there are people who have stood with you, and I know after your Instagram post, for example, Mammootty and Mohanlal were among men who came forward and said, "We stand with you, Bhavna." It must have been extremely lonely. I know that the Kerala Women's Collective was fighting on your behalf, but your name was never revealed till you decided to own your own battle. Where did you find the strength to own your battle, put your name and face to it, as you are doing in this moment?
Um, See, the 5 years journey was very, very difficult for me because you know how it is. The discussions and debates and all happens in channels when something happens. So when this happened in 2017, of course, a huge number of people were standing by me, they were supporting me. But then there is another group of people who are so comfortably sitting in some channels and talking about me. They don't even know me. Some random people saying things like, she shouldn't have done that, she shouldn't have, traveled at night, she shouldn't have. And it's just 7 o'clock in the evening we are talking about. So they were sort of, accusing me for what happened, maybe blaming me. And and at the same time, there was this kind of a negative PR or like a propaganda happening in social media, that it says that it was premeditated, that I staged this and it's a fake case, that I made it up. I'm just faking it. And all that things, that was very, very, very painful to, see, to listen, to know. I was devastated. Like, something so unfortunate happened to me in my life, and I was devastated and I was broken into a million pieces. While I was trying to pick those pieces up and then to try to stand up and, to face the life again, these kind of things were like pulling me down again and again and again. When they were talking things like it I staged this and it was premeditated and hurtful things like that. And they were very hard with their words. They were very comfortable saying that. So sometimes I wanted to scream on top of my lungs to these people saying that my parents didn't raise me like that. That was like an insult to my parents, to my family. I am not a person who will do such a thing, that I'm not an evil person. So it was, see, my dignity was like already snatched away from me, yet I was victim shamed. And it was very easy for so many of them. It was, very easy for them to just pull me down again. So that hurt me really bad. I was very, 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 hurting. It was very painful. And I was not on social media during that time. Luckily, I think so that that personal attack, maybe I dodged that toxicity bullet. I don't know. I joined Instagram in 2019. Even then,
Mm.
I did get some hurtful messages asking me to, like, why don't you go and die, like why don't you go kill yourself, and how are you living like this, and aren't you shamed, or that you're going to pay for what you did, and all these things. I'm like, what did I do? So the journey was very, very tough. So when I Instagram on, like I said, 4 weeks back, like in January, I I just wanted to put it out there. I just wanted to
Mm.
let people know that this is what has been happening in my life. And I'm so grateful for those who stood by me. And when I put it out there, it was very, very, very cathartic.
Yeah, you've brought up how you toxic trolling. You were called effectively a liar, that you made up the story. You were not abused, and I can't imagine what that would have felt like. And again, to explain to our audience, for legal reasons, you're not naming the actor against whom you've leveled the charges, and you've asked us also to do the same. But of course, everybody knows this case. And my question to you is, you are taking on an extremely powerful person in court. Are you, where are you drawing your strength from? And are you feeling some days, oh my God, why did I do this? What I mean by that is, sometimes women in the old days used to be advised to keep quiet. I remember when I was a student, and I experienced abuse. My faculty members told me that don't bother taking this to court. This was well before Me Too. Nobody's going to believe you. Thankfully, we have moved on well beyond that, but even now, victim shaming takes place. So, do you sometimes feel, oh, I wish I hadn't spoken?
Um, Sometimes, yes, when I'm so vulnerable and I'm feeling very low, maybe, I'll be thinking, like I said, mentioned earlier, like a lot of what ifs is there in my mind. And I wanted to quit for a very, very, so many times. I was so ready to quit. I have even told my family, I have even told my friends that, okay, enough. I can't do this anymore. I just want to quit. I don't care. Whatever happens, let it happen. I don't know. I just want to come out of it. I want to have a normal life. So, yes, I have thought about it.
So, what keeps you going?
I think it's my will that I should fight and I should prove that I didn't do anything wrong, that I'm innocent. To prove my innocence, like I said, my dignity is shredded to a million pieces. I want to get it back. So I want to prove. So it's definitely, and my family and my friends and so many people, like you said, WCC, like so many of them have been standing by me. That's like the strength, that courage they give me is enormous, which I can't even put in words. So my will, ultimately, it's like, okay, I've gone through this. I don't know. I had to endure what I had to endure, but then let me fight. Let me prove that I didn't do
Hmm.
anything wrong.
What do you feel primarily right now? Is there a sense of hope that you will get this dignity that you feel was shredded into a million pieces? Is there rage, quiet rage? Is there sadness, or is there also fear? Because sometimes what happens is that you feel you're taking on an entire machinery. Like you said, there's big media that is backing the man you have accused. There is social media. Not everybody in the industry is willing to take a stand, though I have to say in your case, the women have been extraordinarily vocal in your support. But what is that emotion right now? Is it more anger, or is it more fear, or is it more sadness?
I would say everything. I have this mixed emotions. I am scared. I'm still scared.
What are you scared
I'm
of? What are you scared of?
like, I don't know about this system and this fighting for justice. It's never easy. So
Hmm.
even when I think about it, the trial and everything, I don't know. I have this fear inside me. If you ask me why is that, I may be, I won't be able to give a proper, precise answer for it. But sometimes I'm really sad. Sometimes I'm so frustrated. Sometimes I'm so, angry and mad. And so everything, I have all these emotions together.
I just want to remind our audience that the charges here are so serious that they include kidnapping, abduction, and molestation. But also, Bhavna, the accused in this case, a very, very famous actor, has, of course, is fighting it in court, and has, for legal reasons, we also have to say that he's denied it. What my question to you is, other people in your industry, women who have spoken out about their Me Too experiences, have sometimes been denied work. Chinmay Sripada, for example, whom I've interviewed several times, spoke about how she wouldn't get work anymore. Have you had consequences for your work, for your professional trajectory, ever since you have decided to take this actor on and call him out? Have you had to pay professionally?
Uh, See, I have denied, of course, I've denied work
You have been
before.
denied work.
Yes, yes, before the incident, yes, but I don't know how far I can get, to give the details because it's all in the statement. So of course I was denied work, but then after the incident, even then, there's some of them, actually so many of them, like good souls, have offered me work in Malayalam industry. They have in fact insisted that I have to come back and work in Malayalam again. Um so many of them, like good friends of mine from, I don't know if I should name them, but then still, from Ashik Kabu to Prithviraj to Jinu Abraham to Badran sir, Shaji Vela sir, like Jaisurya, like so many of them have actually approached me and offered me work, but I had to turn it down for 5 years because I was too traumatized to come back to that same industry and work again, pretending as nothing has happened. I was not in the right frame of mind with this case and trial and everything. And I don't know. I think I just stayed away from that industry for my peace of mind. But I continued work in other languages. But having said that, I started listening to some Malayalam scripts now. I should say that now.
Yeah. What has been the toughest thing about this journey? I mean, your post said you are treated like the guilty party instead of, you've been humiliated. You have been treated like you're guilty. Has it been a very lonely place to be in, even with the people who are supporting you? Do you essentially feel alone? How has it affected your mental health? What do you see happening going forward? Are you going to stay the course? Are you going to fight this till the end?
Of course, yes. I'm going to fight fight this because I realize that This is my fight, and I have to, fight it till the end. Um, and you asking about how lonely I felt. I think, see, I have an amazing supporting system. I'm so thankful for that. I'm so grateful for that, from my husband to my family to my friends to the public. I mean, the audience, they've been very, very kind to me. It is very overwhelming seeing the kind of love and affection and support, coming on my way. I have to thank them. Even when I travel, people will be coming and talking to me, hugging me, and saying things like how they're praying for me, that I should get justice, and they're always with me. All these kinds of kind words. It is definitely very, very touching, very overwhelming, and I should thank all of them for that. Uh, but when, like I mentioned earlier, when I had to go to the court for 15 days, that happened in 2020, and it was not in one stretch, it happened in like a 7 months period. So I was in the court for 15 days, and those 15 days, from morning till evening, each and every second of it, I was sitting in that court trying to prove that I didn't do anything wrong, that I am innocent. I am not the one who should be sitting here. That sitting in that court for 15 days, facing seven different lawyers and their questions and cross examination and re examination and all that, that's when I felt very, very lonely. I have this immense support from people. I should never, ignore that. But when I was in the court, there was nobody. The court full of people, yes, but yet I was very lonely, devastated, devastated because going through that again and again and again, proving that I didn't do anything wrong, that I'm innocent. Those 15 days from morning till evening, I felt very, very, very lonely. That's when I felt that it's my fight, it's my battle. At the end of the day, I have to be in the court and fight it out. That I almost felt like it is like me versus the world. I was fighting it. So that's when I felt very, very lonely. Apart from that, I should thank my family, my friends, and the people out there for their incredible support.
Yeah. How do you deal with the toxicity? Because you're right that when we announced that you would be a speaker, there were many people who really want to hear you. But of course, there were the usual trolls who, as you said, have in the past accused you of falsifying these allegations. When you read these things on social media, when you hear them, are you able to ignore them, or do they really get under your skin?
Um, of course, I try to ignore because I told you how I dealt with it for past 5 years. So now I'm in like, okay, ignore. If that gives them some happiness, okay, let them do or write or say whatever they want, because I can't make everyone happy. I can't convince everyone that, okay, this is what happened. So they will believe what they want to believe. I know that my conscience is clear. I know my family and the people who know me. Everyone knows that, from, I'm coming from. So right now, I think the best way to just ignore it. So now I'm like, okay, if they're telling something, if they're trying to pull me down again, if that's what makes them happy, let them do. That's their life, their choice, their mindset. But I'm just going to ignore it.
Good for you. Do you know that a lot of perpetrators of sexual harassment, they get normalized, they get socially rehabilitated, they get professionally rehabilitated, they rarely get punished. When you see that happening with the person you have accused, where do you draw the strength from to keep going? Because the fact is that it is very difficult in our world to actually lead to somebody, someone who's the perpetrator or the alleged perpetrator actually gets rehabilitated, gets normalized. So, how are you dealing with seeing that happen?
It is very sad. It is that makes me angry, like every other person in this country, like, who want
Yeah.
justice to be done. It makes me very, very angry. But in court, I think in front of the judiciary, just proof matters, no emotions, no bonding or the human life or what they lost, or it's just the proof. So I don't know how to put it. It makes me very, very angry and very sad. And the strength I get from is, um, I don't know. Sometimes it's not that every day I'll feel very empowered and very ready to fight it and all that. So many times, that so many days that I just wanted to give up and just maybe like go somewhere else, maybe a different country and start a new life and all that. So it is not
Yeah.
easy, not at all easy. So when I listen to such news or such stories coming up, it is very disheartening. You know,
Yeah,
I
I can
think
only imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
think
go
we
ahead.
should, yeah, we should normalize the idea or the concept of a person who have gone through a trauma, like any trauma, coming out in public and voicing it out. I think we should normalize that as a society. We should encourage that courage, and that should be normalized. That's what I feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A last question to you. What would you say to other women who have, like you, dared to speak up and are also fighting lonely battles, long legal battles, facing toxicity? What would you say to women hearing this today who are also either silent and have not yet broken the silence? It took you 5 years, or are fighting these very, very difficult battles?
Yeah. So, see, I had this blaming phase in my life after the incident. Then the trial
Yeah.
happened. Then, after that, now there is this voice in my head. It kept saying that you did the right thing, that you didn't do anything bad. You did the right thing. So, it is there actually. When I read something or when I say something, when something is not in our favor, I always think like that, okay, I didn't do anything wrong. I did the right thing. So I was saddened and shocked and amazed seeing the number of response and messages I received from women across the world, across the
Yeah.
country. They have the kind of trauma they have gone through, some of the other trauma they have gone through in their lives. It is horrifying. It is so sad to read it. They're saying you represent us, and trust me, that's giving me no happiness at all, that so many women who
Yeah.
are silent, they have kept these pain, this trauma within themselves because they're scared to open up. They're scared, this might affect their life, this might affect their happiness, career, their profession, their mental peace, everything. But living with it is horrifying. I cannot even imagine. If I think like, what if I didn't say it? What if I didn't file a complaint? What would have happened to my life? I think I'll become, I don't know. So that was horrifying to read such messages and response. I felt really, really sad. And if you ask me personally, I will tell you from my journey that I would rather give a very strong fight without worrying the outcome than seeing such people walk away as if they did nothing wrong. So I'll do
Yeah.
that. I'll give a strong fight.
Yeah, I think that says it all, that you'd rather fight and not worry about where the fight will end than to let, perpetrators of sexual abuse and harassment
Walk away.
believe that they can get away with it because everybody is too scared to actually fight the good fight. We wish you luck, Bhavna, and thank you. It has not been an easy conversation for you. It is always difficult. It's always difficult to come out and speak about it, no less on camera with millions of people watching. So thank you very, very, very much for having the courage to break the silence on sexual assault. Take care, and we will continue to follow this case and hope that justice is served. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for making me a wonderful part of this. And thank you so much to you personally for making me extra comfortable and giving me the courage to come in front of the camera and speak. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Bhavna. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care. All right, that was a difficult conversation, and I'm sure a lot of you will have your own accounts to share. There probably is a trigger of memories for so many of us, for so many people watching. There's a lot more coming up on We the Women's Global Town Hall. Extraordinary speakers, personal accounts, intimate conversations, conversations about independence, freedom, feminism.